Hey Seth, thanks for joining me today. To start, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, nice to meet you. My name is Seth Goldin. I'm a sophomore at Yale studying computer science and global affairs, and I run the Yale Entrepreneurial Society along with my co-president, Teo Dimov, and I'm also involved in a couple other campus orgs like club running team.
Awesome. And how did you first hear about the Yale Entrepreneurship Society?
I first heard about it when I was at campus for the pre-orientation program, pre-orientation day called Bulldog Days,
Mhm.
which is like Yale's equivalent of bef after you get into college, but before you like commit to going to a college if you didn't apply early decision. They
Mhm.
like fly people there or like you fly there to come to campus and you're hosted by current students for like a couple days, and it's just like this incredible couple days where you're meeting all of these other prospective freshmen, and you like go to like art shows and you explore campus, and basically every club on campus hosts some kind of event like to get to know them, and the entrepreneurial society hosted an event. And so I saw them when they were tabling. I went to their event, learned about sort of the resources and that this club existed. And that was a big factor in me choosing to go to Yale. Was I wasn't really even aware that anything like this existed. And so meeting like Grace Gerway, the current president at the time, and speaking to her about it was really impactful.
Cool. And the Yale Entrepreneurial Society, or YES, is a student-led nonprofit. It was founded in 1999. And yeah, the goal is to like support student innovation and entrepreneurship at Yale. Like, is there any other background information that you think is important for the audience to know before we dive into questions?
Background information about the Entrepreneurial Society.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, so I think like a lot of campus orgs, the Entrepreneurial Society has gone through like ebbs and flows. Like it's founded by Miles Lasseter in the late 90s. Um, but there are times on campus when it's been in a bunch of different forms. And really what it is, it's an umbrella organization for a bunch of different, like effectively sub clubs that offer wildly different resources to students, with the main thing that everyone has in common being that they're interested in entrepreneurship or venture capital in some form.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also, I guess, like a couple other like background things that could be interesting. It's one of the largest clubs on campus. Because of that, we have around 380 like members. Um, it's a combination of fellows and then people who are participating in various programs. And that number comes from people who apply to join and then are accepted at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
So it's not like an email list or something.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that might be interesting is a lot of the people who are involved in Yes um, are also like involved in other like campus entrepreneurial orgs as well, such as the Tsai Center for Innovative Thinking at Yale, which it sounds like you brought Matt Gira onto
Yeah.
um, this as well earlier. Like the Tsai Center has a ton of resources for students at Yale. And so lots of people who are in Yes are also involved in science and capacity.
Cool. And yeah, I saw you guys were also like partnered with them, or at least based on your website. How would you describe that partnership? It sounds like you guys operate independently, but maybe work together in some ways. Yeah. Can you share more about that?
Of course. Yeah. So the Tsai Center and the Entrepreneurial Society have like a ton of overlap in what they're trying to accomplish, which is to support entrepreneurship among students at Yale, both Yes, and Tsai City both support undergrads and grad students, but as our organization is entirely run by undergrad students, that's definitely our focus. And the Tsai Center is also focused on all of the different grad schools that Yale has, which is everything from the School of Public Health to the law school to the global affairs programs to even the med school, the business school. So there's a lot of different groups that they aim to support. And the way I would kind of look at it is they're the institutional like entrepreneurship programs, and we're the like sort of student run ones. And so they're trying to provide like education and like enrichment programs, and we're more focused on providing like some amount of like social stuff as well. Like we want to help people meet each other, to provide support for other people who are working on projects, to help people get involved in this community. That's a lot of our focus as well.
Cool. And when you were describing Yes, you talked about it's sort of like this umbrella organization, and there's a bunch of sub teams or sub clubs underneath it. And I was looking through your website. It looks like you guys run a number of these like different sub clubs. So there's Startup Incubator, VC Fellowship, Launch, Friends and Family, Startup Internships, and even a high school fellowship. Can you just give maybe a quick overview of your programming and maybe what you're trying to accomplish with each of these programs?
Yeah, so I mean, the one that I can talk about with a ton of enthusiasm to start is this launch program. If you're a prospective student and you're looking at potentially coming to Yale, this is created for you. Basically, when you come to Yale, everyone is required to join a pre-orientation program, and that can range from a hiking trip to a poetry slam to if you're international, they have like a program designed to help you sort of get used to becoming a student in the US. This year, we created a new program. So that started for the first time this fall, called Launch, which helped 120 students who were coming into Yale as the class of 27 sort of become assimilated into our community with a huge focus on entrepreneurship. And so this was a 4 to 5 day program for the entirety of every day for those days, where we sort of split it into like fun activities, like going on day hikes. We took everyone to New York for a day. There was a beach trip planned. And then we also brought in a ton of amazing Yale alumni founders and other founders to speak about their experiences. So Anne Wojcicki from 23andMe, Max Mullen from Instacart. We brought in Michael Seibel from Twitch and Sarah Dew from Aloy. So it was a really incredible set of talks, virtual and in person, to help these students who are coming into campus think about not just like, okay, this is, getting used to the campus community, but also like, what am I trying to get out of this college experience? And like, think a little bit about those questions as well. And the advice that they had for them, I thought, as someone who was already 1 year in, like incredibly valuable. So that was a super cool experience. And it definitely also is like sort of a feeder or pipeline into a lot of Tsai and Yes programming after the fact. So that's Launch, and it's continuing again next year. It might be a little bigger with a new group of leaders. And that's one of our programs that we run. Another program that you mentioned was the VC Fellowship, which is trying to help students learn more about venture capital. I'm going to get involved in that. And another program, there's 2 more actually, I don't know that you mentioned, that we consider really important. One is an internships program. So we have an internships program that helps students at Yale and also students not at Yale get connected with startups for summer internships. And this program is like really important to us because getting that experience is like one of the most valuable things you can do as a student, to find out like, am I actually interested in entrepreneurship? Am I like excited about doing this? About working at a startup or being involved in the startup's ecosystem. And so that was one, we have a whole team of people who are focused on recruiting startups, like looking at the applications for students, creating that portal, and then running that. We also have a whole team of people who run a high school fellowship. So if you are in high school, this is something you can do right now, which is we have a fellowship that you can apply to, where we have Yale students who have like participated in Yes or Tsai programming, who run workshops about entrepreneurship for high school students, with the goal of trying to like share more about not just the resources at Yale, but about entrepreneurship in general. And then if you apply to Yale, you can obviously say like, I participated in this program. So that's something as well that we run that we consider important for sort of growing the community beyond Yale. We also do tons of like sort of fun mixer events for students to help them get to know each other. And we also run speaker series, and we bring people to campus all the time to share their story and also to give advice and mentorship. From Corey Levy, who runs Z Fellows earlier this semester, to this past fall, we brought Kevin Ryan, the founder of DoubleClick, and Mongo and a bunch of other companies, Business Insider, and Tsai, one of the founders of Alibaba, to campus as well. And that was through a partnership with the Tsai Center that we call the Inspire Speaker Series. And those videos, if they're not already, should be on YouTube for people to watch in the coming months.
Very cool. Great overview of the programming. And now kind of curious if you could just go into more details about how students get involved. So I was looking through your website. It looks like some of these programs are like invite only, some you have to apply to, some maybe you have to email someone for. And then you also mentioned earlier that like you have 380 members. So I'm wondering if there's maybe just like a general application that people have to go through. But yeah, can you just talk about how students get involved in some of these things?
Yeah. So like you said, it is a little bit variable depending on the specific program or what exactly it is. Some are more competitive than others, just due to the number of people who participate. But we streamlined it a lot this year in the sense that now everyone has to apply. If you're involved in Yes, then you're a Yes Fellow. There's a singular application, and it's not super like long or complicated. It's basically like, who are you? What are you working on? Or what's your experience or interest in entrepreneurship? So that we know like that you are like a participating member of this community. And then once you've applied to that, then there's like a bunch of other applications that you can apply to for the other like subclubs or opportunities that exist beyond that. And most of those happen the first week of each semester.
Cool. And so for the general application, is it just like, are they interested in entrepreneurship, plus they're going to be involved, or there's like the two things you're looking for? And then talk to me about some of these subclubs. Like, do you need prior experience in VC to join the VC fellowship? Do you need prior experience starting something to join the startup incubator? Like, tell me more about, what you're looking for.
Yeah. So for the VC fellowship, I didn't make those decisions this year, so I'm not 100% sure what the criteria was. But I can tell you that in general, our goal is to be as inclusive as possible. Like, we're not expecting that everyone who joins this organization has started and sold a company. The goal is to be able to help other students who maybe aren't sure whether or not this is something that they want to go through with, discover if this is the right fit for them. And so we have this program that runs every Friday night, called Friends and Family, that is at Tsai City on the second floor, and it's just show up, anyone can come, there's food, there's drinks, and you can work on whatever startup or side project that you're working on. You can ask other people for help, and that is completely open to everyone, regardless of your, like, how serious the thing you're building is.
Yeah.
So there's a range.
Cool. And I mean, you guys do a lot. Like, your program is very extensive. You're covering everything from high school students, prospective students, to full-time students, of course. Like, what do you see as like the biggest opportunities to improve, yes, in terms of how you support entrepreneurship at Yale?
I think something we've been working on recently is trying to offer more mentorship opportunities to students. So just before break, we ran this virtual mentor series, which was like an hour and a half event, 2 days in a row, where we brought a lot of people onto this like Zoom call in a bunch of different categories, from like marketing to like tech journalism, to like growth hacking, to offer like one-on-one advice or like individualized advice to people.
Mhm.
And so that's something we're working on for our students as well. Somewhere where I think we can improve as well is to help more students learn about opportunities beyond Yale's campus. Like, there are a lot of amazing fellowships and programs that are not affiliated really with any institution that you can apply to in the Valley. And my hope is that as this entrepreneurial scene grows at Yale, more and more people are applying and participating in those programs, because that's been really impactful for me personally over the last couple of years.
Cool. And then last question, is there anything I didn't ask about that you think is important to know for a student considering the Yale Entrepreneurial Society?
It's a good last question. I think that if you're considering Yale and you're interested in entrepreneurship or startups, then the main thing that you should take away from this call, or from this, is there is a group of people at Yale who are also interested in that and who will support you. And that goes down to the fact that in general, like the people I met when I went to visit Yale are a huge part of the reason why I'm there. And so, like, if you ever come and you're interested in learning more about this, or getting like more personalized thoughts, like, email us. Like, we'll do our best to respond and like help you with that as well.
Awesome.
And thank you for doing this.
Yeah, appreciate you jumping on the call, Seth. Great way to finish. Yeah, thank you so much.